Defense. The number one thing that I've noticed with the defense over the past few games, they've even said it on the broadcast, they give up the blue line way too easily. Just the Leafs in general. There was a play in the first period of the Montreal game where Petrie sent a puck up the ice to Laurent Dauphin. He was at the blue line. Laurent Dauphin fumbled the puck. Brody was there. He backed off of him. Dauphin fumbled the puck at the blue line. He looked around. He couldn't find the puck. It was in his skates. He recovered, and he was able to enter the zone with time with the puck.
And make a play.
And make a play that led to a scoring chance, and nobody touched him.
That's not good.
That's just unacceptable. And then a few times tonight, I was able to clip one Riley play that was a great example. Separated Line A from the puck, but then who was on the ice for the Line A goal?
Which one?
His first goal. The 3-on-3, whatever. That's 3-on-3.
It was
different.
a change.
Was it Dermott?
Brody changed
because
for
that was
Dermott.
some awful gap control.
Yeah.
There were so many. If you want to teach a young defenseman how not to control the blue line, show them the Toronto Maple Leafs over the past few games, because it has been atrocious.
And it's something we've locked in on. They either have guys who do it, and then there's guys that just they don't do it. Like I love Rasmus Sandin. He's one of the worst defensemen that plays a regular shift at denying the blue line.
Yep.
Justin Hall, who was pretty good at it in previous years, has been a below average at it this year. And again, you're on our shutdown pair. You don't pass the puck that well. You don't score that much offensively. If you're not denying the blue line and protecting the front of the net, what are we doing?
Did you see Justin Hall's back pass on Montreal's first shot?
Justin Hall had a really rough night against Montreal.
That was awful.
I personally disagree.
I think
he was the only only defenseman not to get scored on, and he was on for both goals. Again, that's
awful.
He was. You got to. This is one of those where like the on ice was very evident. He was a disaster, and that's why he was a healthy tonight.
Okay.
The first shift, he tries to do a drop pass with pressure on him to Austin Matthews. It gets picked off. Montreal goes the other way for a breakaway. His second shift, he fumbled the puck in his own end. They ended up with a scoring chance. His third shift, I believe he took a penalty.
Right now, what he's doing as well that is driving me insane, he's overhandling the puck. It's like you can't make a pass. Why are you? There's some plays where he's like, okay, exit, and he wraps it back around the net, and then we turn the puck over.
He's way too slow to be doing that, too.
I understand.
Sandy and Liljegren are really good at it, but they can actually skate.
I understand some of the underlying numbers are fine. He's been average as underlying numbers, but it's like the reverse Spezza. Like Spezza's results are fantastic because he's so good offensively. Hall is the opposite. He's been so prone to big event negative plays due to his inability to make an exit pass, and I think he's way too soft in front of the net. That play by Nick Suzuki, too, where Suzuki hits Hall, a completely clean hit. He hit him hard. He's smaller than you. You got rocked. Spezza goes to stick up for him, and Hall third man's in the fight. I bet that's probably a reason why he got benched, too, because, like, dude, you got rocked by Nick Suzuki and your third man, like, kind of dirty third man inning this fight. Like, what do you look like a
complete clown.
It was a rough look for him. So,
yeah.
I mean, Elliot Friedman said, like, they might look to trade him. I totally believe it. I think if Kyle Dubas could do it, he'd completely remake the bottom two right D of his team, and he's already done it with one spot, and I would not be surprised if he goes back at it.
Yep, I agree.
So
giving up the blue line, and then on top of that, I mean, did you have another point? I'll get into the second one I had with the D. They're soft in front of their net. Mm-hmm. That's an understatement. They are wildly soft in front of their net. I'm glad Lyubushkin's here because he'll help to add to that. But like, there was a couple plays where it's just like, what? They're soft just in general, I would say, in their defensive zone. You pointed out a play. It was on the fifth goal in the St. Louis game where the puck goes down into the corner, right? Brody's battling for the puck. Nylander's there for support. Brody leaves the puck for Nylander. Nylander kind of leans for it, doesn't, and then Brody takes the puck back for some reason. I don't understand why. And then Ryan O'Reilly just kind of puts his ass out and is able to get a tip in for the fifth goal to put the nail in the coffin for the game. And then on top of that, just the the way that St. Louis moved the puck in our offensive zone off the rush too was just like, what are you guys doing out here? Where are you going? Like, there was a play. They came in. It was, I believe, Kyrou threw a pick on. He successfully threw a pick on 2 different guys at one time, and St. Louis walked in for a good chance. Like, how are you not fighting a little bit? How are you not,
I don't know,
like, giving a little shot? How are you not, like, fighting through checks like that? Like, PJ Stock tweeted, oh, the Leafs are soft when this turns out to be, when we get to playoffs and it's more of a rugby game, the Leafs are going to get beat out. And it really made me think, because I don't like generalities, like, oh, they're soft, that's why. We'll get into that a little bit more. And so I started to think, okay, at the opposing blue line, they weren't able to get it in very well against St. Louis. And then at our own blue line, it's an open door. And in front of our net, it's an open door.
Not for anything. Jason's been saying for 4 weeks that we're soft in front of our net. Literally, when was the first time you brought that up?
Yeah, I think it was like a couple weeks ago.
You brought forth the stat, yeah.
Yeah, it was again, like, I think what I said was just go through naturalstattrick.com. It's a great website. You can go to by team, look at the Toronto Maple Leafs, and you can go through every single game. They have, under every game, they have something called a heat map. And it's simple. All it is just where the shots are coming from. Every time there's a shot, it's a little mark on the heat map, and it shows you. And early on in the season, December, November, October, we were doing a fantastic job of covering that little area just below the slot in front of the crease and not allowing shots from there. Since January, it feels like that's been a big issue defensively. Like you guys said, like, you can see it, you can literally see it with your own eyes by looking at these heat maps. It's very simple. It's nothing fancy. It's just where the shots are coming from, and they're so concentrated in front of the net. It just isn't good. It has to be improved upon, and thankfully we got Lyubushkin, who's definitely going to help with that. And it kind of looks like by tonight's shot map against Columbus, maybe his impacts we're already starting to see his impact. Excuse me.
So, I think Justin Hall's I agree. Sorry, Jason. I totally agree. Like, got to be way better in front. That's one of the top 2 things for me. For me, it's better in front, better exit passing, better on X, because it's too many times, Muzz and Hall specifically, where we're getting hemmed in because we're not making good outlet passes. Some of that's on some forwards too, but mostly on the D. When I look at Justin Hall, his metrics are good, not good, average. He's like literally an average defenseman according to the expected goals, shot metric numbers. But let's get into like the micro and macro of his game, like actually on the ice. What is Justin Hall doing well this year?
Nothing.
I feel like he just does a lot of things mediocre. That's like,
but like last year, he was a good first passer. He was a reliable first passer. At least we had that, and he did a pretty decent job at denying entries, or at least forcing dump-ins last year. This year, his first pass has been like from game one. From game one, has been just awful.
From the preseason.
And his entry denial rate's in the bottom half of the league. So we got to Justin Hall's got to figure it out. What's your niche? What are you going to do well? And if he can't, he's going to be traded 100%. If it's not him or Dermott this summer, one of them's gone. That's just do the math. Like one of them's gone, and
Dermott's been a lot better.
Here's the thing: Dermott is one of the best defensemen, believe it or not, in the league, tracking wise, at denying rushes. Believe it or not. One thing, watch Dermott does this so well. Watch how he utilizes his forward skating on these entry denials. The reason that a lot of guys give up the zone is they're skating backwards in a straight line, and it's just easy. He does a great job at pivoting because he's a great skater, and he can pivot, skate forwards, and deny the guy.
He's aggressive.
The problem with Dermott is not a lot of the other things in his game are as advanced, and he's a little undersized, and when he plays up in competition, as we've seen, it doesn't translate as well. So that's the problem with Dermott. And I think Dermott has a good skill set to stick in the league in a bottom pairing role. I'd even like to see him in a higher role. But again, for this team, we have big aspirations. I don't know where the spots are if you're adding another defenseman.
You need I think the most obvious we're seeing is that second line right D. Can it be Bush? Can it be someone else, it's probably not going to be Liljegren.
And Dermott and Hall have value on the way out too, right? Like, let's say it's a middling team. That's not a team that's out. Maybe a team that wants to do well next year and doesn't want to lose a ton of defensive depth as we get closer to like an Anaheim, for example. Let's say Anaheim, Philadelphia. Oh, okay. Maybe we'll trade Manson or Braun, but next year we want to be good.
Yeah.
You say, okay, take Justin Hall, take Travis Dermott. You're shedding $2 or $1.5 million. Helps with the cap situation.
Yeah. So like I said, Hall is on a middling team. He is a serviceable 4-5 for them. That's what and especially since he's only making $2 million for this year and next year, right? So he has a ton of value going out. It's just again, what do we want as our fourth right D? Do we want a serviceable guy or do we want we need an elite? We need strong players. That will take us to the next level. That's what's the biggest. The glaring difference between us and Tampa Bay right now, right now you look at their decor, you look at our decor, and it's not even close.
It's a joke.
Maybe we have a bit of an edge on in the forward group because Tampa lost a ton of depth last year. But again, our defense, compared to theirs, it's night and day, honestly. Yeah. And that's nothing against our top end guys like Riley, like Brody, Muzzin, even Sand and Liljegren. They're great players, but again, their defense group is. Studs, and we got that. We need to get to that level if we want.
You want to talk a second pair that has some protect the front of the net, win pucks in the corner. How about Ryan McDonough and Eric Cernak?
Oh yeah, that's a tough.
That is about exactly what you want in a second pair defensive role. They got Sergachev on their third pairing. Yeah. What are we doing? This team is so stacked. But I agree though, Jason. You're 100% right. I didn't even talk about Bogosian. They have Bogosian as their 6'7". It's unbelievable.
I like
how
that
much
point you made about what are you going to get at your fourth right D kind of pairing? Is it going to be someone serviceable versus a very good player?
That's a great point.
And that really depends on what's your third guy left D. Before it was Jake Muzzin. It was we just need serviceable on the right side, but Muzzin is either A, out, or B, just hasn't been playing very well this year. I think you need a little bit more than what we were thinking before the deadline, at least. Before last month, what we were thinking kind of.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
And, people were right. Hull was being carried by Muzzin. I'm not saying he's a useless player, but his top game was a lot because Muzzin was doing a lot of the dirty work. And now Hall's not terrible. I still think people like you said, it's fair. He's having a bad stretch, but he's a very serviceable NHL defenseman. I bet if we were a bad team, by the way, and he's like a $2 million 4-5 with term, you could probably get a second round pick, maybe. I don't know, squeeze a top prospect, not top, but B plus prospect. But I agree, Jay. That's a great. What do you want? Do you want a question mark, or do you want to shore that up and be? Wow, this is a strength of the team. You got Riley Brody, which is a great all situations. You got an offensive player. You got a chameleon in TJ Brody. And then you have your shutdown pair with Muzzin or whoever, whatever. And it's a strong, strong pair. I think you're right. I think you got to shore it up any way you can. I remember Dallas's D when they made the finals too, right? They couldn't score that year. They couldn't score. Even in the playoffs, they couldn't score. They had, what was it? Heiskanen.
They had Heiskanen, Esa Lindell,
John Klingberg.
And then Jamie Alexiak on the 6th.
They had guys, man. And I know we like our smaller D that can move the puck. I love those guys, but I agree. Have a strong second pair.
I'm glad you brought up Dallas, and also kind of relates to what I was mentioning before at that PJ Stock tweet. Look at who did they have on their roster that didn't play that well in the regular season. There was 2 guys, but there's one guy I'm thinking in particular. Didn't play that well in the regular season that year, but had a good playoffs.
Was Pavelski one?
Yes, Pavelski was one. It's not the guy I'm thinking
Klingberg?
of. No. Forward.
Jamie Benn?
Corey Perry.
Corey Perry.
Why was that? He's a complete rat in front of the net.
Yeah.
The next year, what happened? He was a healthy scratch. He was on waivers at the beginning of the year for Montreal. He had a good playoffs, though. Why? He's a rat. There are less, as you mentioned in past episodes, there are less rules in the playoffs. It's time to accept that.
Yeah.
You need very tough defensemen in front of the net to defend against those rats.
Well, remember we talked about even Colorado struggled in the playoffs last year against Vegas. They couldn't
lost in the second round.
Couldn't get the puck out.
Yep.
And they said
On the forecheck, too.
I don't agree with this. It's like, can you have Girard and can you have Makar? I disagree. Those guys are elite defensemen, but there's a different game in the playoffs. And some of that will be that Sam Girard has to adjust his game for that, right? But like you said, does Eric Cernak have to adjust his game for the playoffs? No, the playoff adjusts for Eric Cernak, and he's better in the playoffs.
Yeah. Because he's got that
People don't know a lot about him, but I've just watching him, looking at some numbers, like the way he denies the blue line, wins puck battles, just a really, really solid defense.
That is like one of the most pivotal traits for that team that no one ever talks
about.
about.
Unbelievable trade.
They got was it Ben Bishop in a third? Or sorry, they traded Ben Bishop for him in a third, I think. Right? It's just crazy. But
it's just also, but then again, when they get into that system, the way they do things, it's championship level, and I think the Leafs can get there. So on D, let's give a little summary here. We didn't talk Muzzin. Obviously, he got injured. I don't want to criticize his game too much, but it's hard to underestimate how much injuries are playing a role in that guy's game right now, right? Because last year he's one of the best defensemen in the NHL. We're talking Olympic team for him.
Yeah,
remember that, and it was warranted. He was unbelievable, but it's got to be tough in and out of the lineup. Different injuries, like I think it's affected mostly his puck handling, his decision making. He's just not. It's almost like he's not fully. He can never get fully at game speed. Yeah. He's always in and out of the lineup. So we'll see what happens. If he goes on LTIR, it's going to be buckle up. Like it's going to be an S show for the Leafs. Like they got to probably add a defenseman. It's the thing. Like everyone's like, put him on LTIR. Yeah. Then what are you doing on the back end though?
Who are you bringing in?
Because it's even a 50% Jake Muzzin is no offense. He's better than Dermott and Hall and Liljegren right now.
Yeah.
So
like in the short term, again, like I'm okay with Lyubushkin and Sandin being our second line, but long term that's not. And long term, I mean going past the trade deadline, like that's not a solution. Yeah. That is just simply not the answer. And expecting him to come Muzzin to be out all year, come back, be up to game speed, like you said, that's just recipe for disaster. So hopefully we can see a move come soon. But
I think they made one move. I think it's probably even better than 50% they make another one.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a good summary.